I scream.
You scream.
We all scream.
We all scream.
We all scream for ice cream. For ice cream.
Scream, especially when it's freeze dried.
Get out of here.
Where'd you get that ice cream cone?
Hey guys, Retired at 40. I know what you're saying. Whoopity-doo, another ice cream freeze-dried video to go with the other 10,000 that are out there. But I've got a couple tricks up my sleeve, as I usually do, for today. I'm going to show you what we're doing today. We're going to do some ice cream sandwiches, some drumsticks, some mint chocolate chip and Neapolitan ice cream, some ice cream cookie sandwiches, and some rocket pops, which technically aren't ice cream, but I am super curious to see what happens to these. If you've never joined us on this channel, we do some freeze drying, food preservation, we do some cooking, some grilling, and you get to join me and my family on our journey to retirement at the age of 40. Take a minute to subscribe, give me a thumbs up if you like the content, and ring that notification bell if you want to get upcoming videos in the future. So I have my freeze dryer already pre-freezing for half an hour. I'm going to do 10 hours of final dry because I think some of this stuff, just because of the thickness, is probably going to take a little longer than the average. So let's just go ahead and start loading up these trays. All this stuff is obviously already frozen. So here we go. Okay, for these drumsticks, they won't fit into the trays and into the machine because they're going to be too tall. So I'm actually going to cut them in half, which is fine anyway because you have to have a place where all that water can escape. So I'm going to try a serrated knife like this and see if it will cut through it. Alright, so for the ice cream, I've found that the best way, it's going to depend on how thawed out the ice cream. If it's really, really hard, you can just peel all of the cardboard off. Otherwise, you can actually just slice the cardboard too. I've done that. But I like to take mine and cut it into bars, and it works a lot easier if the ice cream is really, really hard. It's not easier to cut through, but it keeps the ice cream from melting before you can actually get it into the dryer, and it actually makes the end product a lot nicer. Alright, for the mint ice cream, I'm actually going to do dollops just to change it up a little bit, just so you can see what the different styles will take. Also, don't be afraid to put this back in the deep freeze if it starts to melt. You don't want it to melt, you want it to stay in these nice big chunks like this. It just freeze dries a lot better. You're able to fit about one carton onto a tray, which is actually really convenient. So it took 21 hours and 44 minutes, almost 45 minutes. I believe that's the record for the fastest cycle that I've had so far. So on the surface everything looks good. The big difference is it's just really, really light. There's no weight to any of this. It's just a big puff ball. And then we get to the rocket pops. And the rocket pops look like spray insulation. So now that I've got these away from the trays, I want to show you what these are actually like for the consistency. Obviously, you know, ice cream would normally melt, but this can stay in, you know, just a room temperature for a long, long time until it would actually absorb enough moisture in the air that it would rehydrate. But the inside is just crunchy. It's very light, everything is very light. Ice cream sandwich is probably going to be just about the same way. And what's crazy is that it looks exactly like it did when I put it into the freeze dryer. I mean, you wouldn't know the difference. You would think you'd almost start to wait for this to melt. The consistency of it is just similar to foam. Another thing that's really cool is once this is in a Mylar bag, this is good for 20 plus years. It could be 30 years. So I could eat ice cream that I freeze dried from 20 years ago. This stuff's actually from almost 2 years ago, and I've tried another bag of it, and it tastes exactly the way this does right now that just came out of the freeze dryer. And also, I didn't use my kilowatt meter on this video to measure the electricity amount that this used because it did decide to die on me. But I have found that the average cycle time, the average cost on that is it's anywhere from about $1.50 to $3. Real consistently, it's $2 to $3. And seeing as how this ice cream was on the very low end, the fastest cycle time that I've ever had, it's definitely going to be on the low end of the electricity cost. Another thing I've always wanted to try is to put freeze-dried ice cream or something that would melt normally into the microwave and see what happens. Alright, it's been in for a minute. The plate's hot. Let's get a close-up of this. Here's what happened. Nothing. It's exactly the same. It doesn't melt. Some of the chocolate pieces, they did get a little soft because chocolate does not totally freeze dry. This didn't actually. The graham cracker part didn't. So it does not melt in the microwave, but what happens when you put it back into water and add water back into the equation? Here's the Neapolitan ice cream and the ice cream bars and the ice cream cookie sandwich. Here's the mint and the drumstick, and then what's left of the rocket pop. So let's do that again. This has got to be the coolest thing that I've ever rehydrated. There's a big chunk of rocket pop. Ready, go. And it just dissolves down to nothing. The rocket pops are kind of like pop rocks when you put them in your mouth. Let's check back in with our other ice cream candidates here. The mint, it just turns into liquid. The only thing left of the drumstick is the cone, and it's real mushy. Neapolitan has not quite absorbed all the water yet, but what has gotten absorbed is just turning into like a milky water substance. And this is just pretty much disintegrated. This hasn't taken in much water yet, but even the cracker part of the ice cream sandwich is disintegrated. So ice cream doesn't reconstitute well, as I imagined. So what do you do with the ice cream? You just eat it like this. It's one of the best things in the freeze dryer. It's a great snack. You can eat it on a hot day and still have ice cream, and it doesn't melt all over the place. In the meantime, this is Retired at 40, reminding you to live life simple. We'll catch you next week.